Thank you to those who have joined already. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. We're just gonna wait a few more minutes for folks to start trickling in, realizing that it is just the top of the hour. We will be beginning shortly. Helps if I unmute myself. We'll give it a minute or two more and then we'll get started. Thanks to those who have joined. We're just letting people get in and get settled, and then we'll kick things off. So thank you for bearing with us, and we'll be starting in just a moment. All right, we can go ahead and get started. For the folks who are joining a little bit late, no worries. We will be recording this, so you'll be able to watch it on the replay. Hello, everyone. My name is Meredith Wentworth. I am the Director of Marketing for Icon Information. I am here to moderate our webinar today with DBSync. So introducing DBSync, integrate Icon with Salesforce, Hubspot, and more. Just a couple of housekeeping things to go through. Your microphones have been muted to reduce background noise and ensure sound quality. If you have any questions or technical difficulties, please feel free to utilize the chat functionality and just ask at any time, and I will be happy to assist you. We will be holding all of the Q&A questions until the end of the session. And then asking those all at once, but you can feel free to enter them at any time as you have questions, and we'll be hanging on to those for you until the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, I will pass it off to our friend from DBSync, Sanjeev Shetty, and we'll get started. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Meredith, and hello, everyone. Meredith, thank you for having me on this webinar, and thanks for the great partnership. I was just about to go to the next slide here. So a little bit about the agenda for today. I'm going to talk a little bit about who we are as a company, DBSync. You're going to get to know the DBSync platform. We're going to quickly explore the value of DBSync for your community. We're going to see how we can simplify information and data exchange. And then we're going to end with a live demo of the platform. And in this demo, we're going to show how we can exchange data between Salesforce, which is a CRM, and Care Merge within Icon. So that's sort of the flow of the webinar today. So before we jump in, a little bit about who we are. So DBSync is an integration platform as a service, otherwise known as iPaaS. And our mission, we started our company about 13 years ago. Our mission really has been to unleash the power of automation so we can liberate our clients from difficult manual and repetitive tasks. And the goal here is to really give you more time to pursue higher goals and objectives, and give back some time to your staff. You can see our team here. You have the founder, myself. I head up the healthcare and senior living division, and Connor, who heads up our Microsoft division, is on here as well. On the right, we have some of our clients. As you can see, we're in senior living, we're in hospitality with Marriott, we're in healthcare organizations, and even in banking. So we have a wide array of partners and clients. Before I jump into our platform, it's interesting to note the statistic on the right. The 2022 Global CIO surveys shows that there's already been a huge growth in the API integration technology space. It's showing 37%, but I think that number has probably grown in the last 1 year. With the increased adoption of AI, it's becoming more and more apparent that having data at the right place at the right time in the right systems in real time is becoming more and more key. I just came out of 2 back-to-back conferences, both HIMSS and Argentum, and apart from the usual value-based care and population health topics, data interoperability and interoperability in general seemed to be top of mind for everyone. When you look at a typical senior living community, you have over 50 apps that are being used, and seldom do any of those apps talk to each other. So really the integration space is growing, and many people are talking about it and looking for solutions to this challenge. But back to our platform. So the DBSync platform, you can break it up into sort of 2 different areas. The one that's the most mature is a cloud workflow area. And this is where we automate tasks, taking the place of point-to-point API integration needs. And we've been doing this for a long time. We were born out of Salesforce. And the biggest use case there was moving Salesforce to QuickBooks. When a customer came in and an invoice needed to be generated, that was the automation task that we were trying to solve when we started the company. But as we matured in that area, we also created another area called cloud replication. And this is really the data management space. So everything from creating a data warehouse to data lakes, and then harnessing that data for things like AI and machine learning and so on. We play a lot in that space as well, mostly on the enterprise side. So that's a little bit about our platform. As you can see, we work with a wide variety of engines, different web interfaces, adapters, and we deploy across various different operating systems as well. So let's explore the value of DBSync for your community. First and foremost, I want to point out that we are a data and API no-code integration platform. So unlike other platforms, there's not a lot of coding required, which makes it very simple, intuitive, and easy to deploy our platform. And our goal is really to create that ecosystem that integrates seamlessly with any EHR, CRM, or ERP that may be out there. What you see in this diagram below is some of the CRMs that we have already integrated with, including Salesforce, Hubspot, and Dynamics. So if you want to move data between these CRMs and CareMerge or Icon, those would be ready out of the box. Of course, we work with ERPs, most notably Microsoft Business Central. We work with Oracle's NetSuite, Dynamics, GP, and QB as well. And then in terms of databases, this is another unique thing about DBSync is we work across pretty much all different database types, whether it's SQL Server, Oracle, MongoDB, Snowflake, or MySQL and Postgres as well. And then, if you have these locally hosted files that you want moved around, whether it's FTP or SMTP or HTTP REST APIs, we are able to move those files, whether they're locally hosted or not, as well as we connect to messaging platforms such as email and Slack. One thing to note is that we are a global company, so we have presence in 4 different countries, including the US, Canada, India, and Philippines. And we have done over 2,000 SaaS integration implementations. So we've been doing this for a while. And ultimately, we really want to create that pathway to manage patient information as they move through the post-acute care continuum. And we believe we are unparalleled in this industry. So it's a little bit about the value proposition. So let's explore how we're simplifying information exchange. So you're probably wondering, how does this all work? You know, what actually gets passed around? So, you know, if you look at the integration we have done with ICON and CareMerd specifically, we're really integrating the demographic data which comes out of your CRM. So things like, you know, your birth date, your admission date, your emergency contacts, your name, email, etc., would get passed on to the ICON CareMerd environment. We can, of course, go both ways. What I'm going to show you in the demo in a little bit here is, you know, information being passed from the CRM, in this case, Salesforce, into CareMerd or ICON. But there's other use cases as well. So, for example, you could pass a unique identifier from the ICON CareMerd environment into your CRM to help your community build and analyze your customer journey from the time they become a prospect to the time that they become a resident and get discharged. The whole value proposition here in the use case is you avoid that rekeying, you improve data integrity by passing basic demographic information from your EHR, in this case it's CareMerd, into your CRM when a potential resident is eligible, for example, for pre-assessment, resulting in clinicians and sales staff spending more time with residents. So we're really giving back time, you know, to those clinicians and sales staff so they can do what they were hired to do rather than start keying data between systems. And then lastly, you can return a status flag from the ICON CareMerd environment into your CRM when a potential resident has completed and passed a pre-assessment. And that could be valuable, you know, a valuable piece of information that an ED or a family member may want to know when that process has been completed. So I am going to now switch gears, and we're going to do a live demo of the actual platform. So we're going to log in to the environment here. First, we'll start with DBSync. Pull up the next one is CareMerd. CareMerd, good, sync. And then the third one we'll need is Salesforce. And the first thing I'm going to show you is we're going to create a new record here. So we're going to go into contacts. So remember, we're pushing information from Salesforce to CareMerd. So we're going to create a new contact here. And there's some fields that have to be entered. So we're just going to create a record called John Smith. We're going to have to put in a community ID. In this case, is 2139. We'll give him a birth date, April 19th, 1937. And let's say he was admitted today. So we want to save this record. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to push this record to CareMerd. So we're going to hit send. We're going to hit save. Once you do that, it says submitted. So now when I go to my DBSync platform, there's 3 different tasks here. We're going to look at webhooks because webhooks is the one that actually pushes the data in real time into CareMerd. So I'm just looking at the logs here. And it says it's running. So as soon as this says completed, that's my trigger to go, there it is, completed. That's my trigger to go back into care merge and check to make sure that that record is in there, and voila, John Smith is in here. And that's how easy it is. But if you go back into the DBSync platform, so what I just showed you is a record being moved from your CRM to your EHR, which is care merge in this instance. But let me just show you how easy it is to actually set this up. So if I go into this bottom one here, which is using forms, and I go into setup, I can basically connect my apps. So you put in your credentials here, you can validate the connection. Once you put in your endpoint, your client ID, and your secret, you do the same thing with the CRM. You'd put in your credentials, you test your connection, you'd hit next. Now, this is where you start mapping your fields. Now, we have created for care merge a default mapping with certain fields. Each of your CRM instances may be slightly different. So for example, phone may be called cell phone in your case, so you could make those changes. And then, once you're done, you'd hit next. And you can either run it or you can even schedule it. So let's say you want it to run at a certain time and you want to repeat every hour or weekly, you can do that here. And then you simply click finish. And that's how easy it is to set this connector up. And that's it. That's how simple it is. Once you set it up, you can schedule it and it will run at the scheduled time. What I'd like to do is actually go back now and take some questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that great presentation. We do have a couple of questions here. The first one that was asked is, how will the sync benefit my community and staff productivity?
So that's a great question, Meredith. I think there's really sort of two broad areas where it's going to benefit the community. One is, sort of more measurable in terms of KPIs, and the other one is not, there's no clear ROI. So let me start with sort of the different areas. So the number one biggest benefit is time savings and increased staff efficiency. So you no longer have that sort of swivel chair, have to enter information into multiple systems. We all know about the labor shortage that exists in the senior living industry. So anytime you can give more time back, to your staff to spend time with residents, I think, you end up with better KPIs such as NHPPD, in the sales or marketing instance, you could be chasing leads or attending more marketing events. And then ultimately, you want more occupancy and better census reporting. So having that information across key systems, in a consistent format, you're really able to improve some of those KPIs. So that's one area. I think the second area, this kind of plays into the first one, but data integrity, and it's kind of hard to put, a value or an ROI to this, but having data be consistent across systems, especially your CRM and EHR, I think there's a lot of value to that. We all, try to avoid human error, but when there's humans involved, there's always a chance for, data being transposed or misrepresented across systems. So that we eliminate that through the use of DBSync. The third area, and I touched upon this a little bit earlier, is since we're a no-code platform, it makes it really easy to install and customize. So, if you think of the traditional way that people used to do integrations, it would take months, and not to mention the cost. We're talking with DBSync, you could be up in 2 weeks. We have a very easy UI. I just showed you how to set it up. There's not a lot of IT staff that's needed to set it up. We kind of go with the philosophy of don't make me think. There's a book by Steve Krug called Don't Make Me Think. So we make it real easy for you to implement and deploy our solution. And then the last area, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but ultimately it's all about the resident care coordination and having the resident be at the center of all of this. So, from the very first moment that you onboard the resident to the time that they get discharged or anything in between, you're able to now have the data move with them. And I think more importantly, having the data, especially demographic data at your fingertips, you're able to have, better communication with family members. Marketing and sales can be more efficient because, you know what's going on in real time, whether it's with assessments or, change in care plans, and you can, communicate accordingly. So really, those are sort of the four areas I would say that really come to mind, when it comes to the benefits to the community.
Wonderful, thank you. It looks like we have one more question here. And that question is, how is this different than a point-to-point API?
So the real big difference is that, it's a time factor, right? A point-to-point API requires you to hire someone to actually build that API connector, and that can take time. We're talking months and several $1,000s. We kind of are a platform that it's a plug and play. So as long as the APIs are exposed, you can basically plug our platform and do a lot of the mapping. Either we can do it for you or we can show you how to do it. There's less maintenance. So if something's broken, you don't have to go back to the people who built that point-to-point connector. You can just, remap it or tweak it on the fly. So it makes it a lot easier to maintain our platform rather than have a third party build that out for you. And then the most important thing that I forgot to mention is that, with point-to-point connectors, you need to build each one individually. In our case, you can just keep adding more and more connectors with the platform. So let's say today it's, Salesforce to Care Merge. Maybe tomorrow it's, QuickBooks or some other ERP system to Care Merge. You can just add those connectors, as you see fit.
Thank you. So I think that does it for questions. Before we wrap up, I am going to just launch a quick poll. So if you could all take a quick look at that and just let me know. I'll give that a second to run and I'll just go through our wrap up. So thank you to everyone today for joining us. We really appreciate it. After this webinar, we will be sharing the recording via email, so you will get a copy of this in your inbox. It'll also be posted on our website. And in that email, you'll also have the ability to reach out to Sanjeev, as well as explore the DBSync website. So all of that should be coming to you in the next day or so. We thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you joining us. And with that, I will wrap up. Thank you, Sanjeev, for a great presentation, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Meredith.